I don't know about you, but I spent a good amount of my summer watching all the new shows and movies that came out.
Me too. There were definitely a lot.
That's why we have Kelsey here to share with us 10 of her must-watches from this summer.
Take it away, Kelsey.
Hey sneak peekers, this summer was the first time since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic that we got to see a lot of TV shows and movies being released. There were so many releases to watch, but luckily for you, I watched a lot of them. So here are my top 10 watches from this summer. For movies released this summer, one of my top picks includes Cruella, starring Emma Stone. The film, which premiered on May 28th, follows Estelle through her villain origin story to becoming Cruella de Vil. My next movie pick is Free Guy, starring Ryan Reynolds, which premiered on August 13th and takes us through the story of a bank teller who begins to realize that he is a background character in a video game. Another blockbuster movie released this summer was the long-awaited Black Widow, starring Scarlett Johansson. Released on July 9th, this movie takes us through the story of Natasha Romanoff, or Black Widow, and shows us her story prior to becoming an Avenger in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Another Marvel movie released this summer was Shang-Chi, starring Simu Liu. Released on September 3rd, this movie introduces us to a new Marvel superhero and all of us Marvel fans, and his story as we see him confronting his past and moving into the newest phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The next movie on my summer watch list was A Quiet Place Part 2, starring Emily Blunt and directed by John Krasinski. Released on May 28th, this sequel follows a family story and how they have to survive in silence from the creatures that hunt for sound. The last movie on my summer watch list was Luca, released on June 18th. This animated feature follows a coming-of-age story of a boy named Luca and his story about exploring the human world as a sea monster. And now for my top TV picks from this summer. A big fan favorite that was released on Netflix this summer was Season 2 of Outer Banks. Following a group of teenagers looking for treasure, this show reached the #1 spot on a lot of streamers' top 10 lists, including mine. So if you haven't watched Outer Banks, you should probably go check it out. Another huge hit this summer was the show on Netflix called Manifest. This show is about a group of people on a flight who went missing and showed up 5 years later, and the things that they go through now, well, you'll just have to watch and see. All of us Marvel fans were spoiled this summer from all of the TV shows that Marvel released. The show that made it into my top 10 was Loki. This show followed Loki, a Marvel villain, through his story, and what happens towards the end sets up many Marvel movies coming to us in the future. The last show on my top 10 list was Icarly. A reboot of a childhood favorite show takes us through this new chapter with Carly, Freddie, and Spencer. So sneak peekers, if you haven't checked out these movies and TV shows, I highly recommend all of them to you.
Thank you, Kelsey, for sharing your summer watches with us. I'll be sure to watch Free Guy on my free time.
And I'll have to watch Loki at some point. It's in my queue for months.